Hey everybody, if you didn't watch it, you won't believe it. We're 3 wins in the last 4 episodes of Monster Train. How about that? Cash Me Outside, how about that? Remember that? She's still famous, right? Anyway, I don't know how we got on that trajectory. Covenant rank 21. Major bosses have increased HP, and unlike the average Monster Train streamer, I got no problem doing randoms. Especially now that we're not getting Stygian nonstop. We got Emberforge, we got Immortal Trade, Ritual of Battle. I apologize, you're gonna devour our spells, but I apologize, I know people like Stygian. The Crucible Cup, oh my word. Alright, so this is a slightly different approach. We don't have Trample, and that basically won us the game last time. I'm gonna go for the capacity, just so that it we can play it on whatever floor has low capacity and mitigate that, or we can play, we can evaluate it at runtime. And believe it or not, I'm actually kind of happy to see that we don't have the Gorge one, because otherwise I would have been super stoked to get Gorge abilities triggered twice on our Gorge champion. We would have altered our playstyle. So I think both of these are pretty good. I'm just thinking. That was my chair. Don't get any big ideas. Just getting ergoed here. Let's ruminate on this. Plus 15 Pyre, very good, Means that by the time we get to the final boss, I believe our Pyre will be doing 55 damage per hit instead of 40. It does almost double damage in the early game. Allows us to probably turn on more trials without sweating it. Plus 3 magic power. I really don't think is that great, but I will admit it makes our torches a lot more usable early. It really works well for something like Vent. It works fine for like an Antumbra Assault or, things of that ilk. But I think I'm going to take the Pyre health. Now, the way that we're going to keep ourselves honest here is in almost all situations, at least in the early game when everything seems hunky-dory, as long as we're not going to die by turning on the trial, we're probably going to turn on the trial. Just thinking. I like that a lot. With only 3 energy, I'm going to hazard a guess that we are very likely to get a torch next turn that will allow us to kill a collector. So I'm gonna rage myself up, believe it or not. And I'm also going to apply the lifesteal, because I want to make sure that our champion lives. I think that's our most important approach. Now, one of the most sensible approaches for sure would be to play an Emberforge here, but because of the way that we've set this up, we're just gonna torch the collector. And then our champion's doing great. Our Pyre, I mean, this is what we built our Pyre to do, is basically to stop these units in here. And, it is what it is. You're gonna take a little damage, and then soon after that, you're gonna take a little damage. But, I'm genuinely not sweating it at all. You are killing the Pyre. I mean, we can't really stop you, so I think we just accept that that's the way of the world. It's the way she goes. And do something like this. Pyre is not going to get hit. So I really feel like we were on the right line there, as strange as that sounds, because we played almost nothing. I do like a Morsel Miner. I really do. I think we can make it work early. It's a tough choice. We definitely do not need this. I really do like Ascends and Descends. I do find them less useful as time goes on. But to split up floors, it matters. But maybe I'm insane. I really feel like on these higher Covenant ranks, just having like stronger unit setups has been nice. So a Welder Helper with Endless kind of appeals to me a little bit more, I think. But this is the most important part right here. So on the beta version of the game, I was watching Apollo play a little bit last night. On the beta version of the game, Shadow Eater now restores 10 and does 10, which I think is a much needed buff. Because this is bad, in my opinion. Or not playable in most circumstances. I think a Steelworker at the top is really good, but we need something behind it that does a ton of damage. So I actually feel like maybe we take the Crucible Warden, knowing we would rather have the lifesteal unit, but at least this does give us the ability to set something up. And we'll try to see if maybe we get, like, a Overgorger? Crucible Collector is okay. So now, I mean, it is what it is. We have 3 floors of good units. I think Welder Helper Endless is extremely strong. And then in terms of, you know, what unit do we want to have Rage 7? I will say, a Welder Helper with Rage 7 is kind of hilarious, because every time he comes out, he's going to do 15 damage. Is that worth more than, you know, Rage 7 on top of Lifesteal? I have no idea, but it's kind of humorous, so let's, and yeah, I'm one of those guys. I say humorous instead of funny. I mean, it's not funny. It's not like when I'm playing it, I'm gonna be like, ha 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 ha. It's humorous, like, I see what you did there. Very clever. Now, we have an odd unit out. And depending on how you see it, the odd unit out is either our Damage Shield Umbra or our Ember Forge. I really doubt, for the time being, we're gonna feel compelled to have 3 good floors. So we could probably play the Ember Forge. I really like the Ember Forge on the 2nd floor, because the top floor, it's by definition, you know? The Penumbra does fine on the bottom, and then the Crucible Collector we really like at the top, so it has as much time as possible to generate lifesteal triggers, so that it's in a better position for the boss. I mean, I'm gonna just do that, as you might expect. This is fine for the time being. You're gonna come up here. I still think the lifesteal is more important than the damage shield. And I'll tell you, it's just because I feel like lifesteal is just better in most situations. Now here, the dream would be... Well, there's a couple dreams. Who gets the Morsel Miner? It's actually a tough choice. I don't think we need to play these, so let's just purge that from our memory. And I don't really mind if our Pyre takes a little bit of damage. So I think we definitely like this. But then the question is it worth keeping you alive? And I think the answer is pretty much no. So I think we give you the Morsel Miner for more lifesteal and stats. And then we give you the lifesteal. I'm hoping that that gives you the ability to hang in here. And it seems like it's doing pretty well. So I think we want to do this again. And that almost gets you. And then I would probably think that maybe a Train Steward... Because you're living for 6 turns of damage. 6 times 25. Well, that's only 150, isn't it? 6 times 25? How are you taking 175? You must be living for 7 turns. Because these guys only do 10 damage, so they're hitting you 1 extra time. Okay. The question for me is whether or not a Train Steward in front does enough. And I don't think, yeah, it didn't actually change it at all. But that's okay. We're still going to get you before the top. You're going to have 25 HP, which is something that we can work with. I was just gonna say, like, an Ember Forge is probably coming, but 25. I mean, you're already dead, so I don't really feel I need to play anything. We could have put Rage on you, but again, I really can't stress enough that it literally does not matter. So that's pretty solid so far. Pyre's taken 10 damage in 2 battles. That's not too bad. Just trying to take a sip in between fights so we can think a little bit, right? I still think Antumbra Assault is a nice morsel generator for us, even more than Mind Collapse. I think a Hornbreak is... Without upgrading, it's one of the better damage spells in the game. So, I actually thought I would want a spell upgrade here, but we don't have that option. So, a multi-strike Crucible Collector would be incredible. Or, I really still, as much as I want this, because there's a lot I like on that path, I think the Crucible Collector is your play. Consumer of Crowns is never going to get out there. I think Steelworker actually works pretty nicely With our lifesteal, well, no, because our lifesteal unit kind of just does it themselves. I think maybe it does okay with our champion, but having them on the bottom floor is not necessarily fantastic, but I think it's worth having. And then we go lifesteal on, or multi-strike on the lifesteal unit, and we always make you tankier, because I think that that pays way more dividends. And then in terms of everything else, I really, believe it or not, I do think you pull the Train Steward, but I thought about pulling Emberforge. We're struggling to find a place for it right now, but I think this run is off to the races. I like it. I really do. It's spooky, don't get me wrong, to fill our deck with 3 more cards that are not very good. But I think that it's worth it. And now that I'm like, we can pull from a different bucket now. Now we don't have to heal our pyre as often, which means, you know, we could adjust what we get reward-wise in the future as well, but I got a lot of thoughts, quite frankly. You explode once, that's not bad. Do we still like Penumbra on the bottom floor? I almost want to try something a little different. Like, I kind of like Penumbra on this floor. And then I'm just going to put, I'm going to put Crucible Warden on the bottom. I'm going to put a Train Steward in front to eat a shot. And then I'm going to give you 2 damage shield, actually, which is pretty nice. So just trying to get one more useful floor. One more floor that does anything at all. You're doing okay for the time being. This heals our pyre for 5 if we got no better options. We absolutely do not mind. It's just a question of where you put the Steelworker. You're going to be in a world of hurt next time, but that's okay. So I think the Steelworker goes here. And I think we're okay with Crucible Collector taking a hit, because any lifesteal is going to just pay dividends for it in the long term. Now with 1 HP left, we could put a Train Steward down here to give us more time to heal up our Crucible Warden. And believe it or not, I actually think that's better than playing the Vengeful, and I think it's better than protecting our lifesteal unit. Our lifesteal unit, if we can get him off the ground at least, is going to start to crush. Personally, I think you dying is very helpful. This may set us back, but I'm really getting into this idea lately that, you know, getting, using like that immortal trade is actually pretty good. And then I think, I mean, if you're gonna die, you're gonna die, you're gonna die. We might as well just, like, ice you. Well, I guess it did make things slightly worse, actually, but we're way ahead of the curve. You're not dying. It's beautiful. You are dying. So I think this is a pretty easy turn where you literally just pierce that damage shield to do that. And if there's one thing that we're missing right now, it's an easier way to create morsels, for sure. We're lacking that in a big way right now. So, and this is, it's getting spiced. Don't question it, okay? I kind of like Welder Helper, which again is doing a lot of damage. I'm summoning it at the back so that in the future I could torch it and bring it back if I wanted to. I don't think it's the right play on this floor. What I think is the right play on this floor is to get some lifesteal on our lifesteal unit. Because then when it attacks twice, it should get back to full HP. So I think we got a solid thing going here. You're only taking 40 damage. It's not really a surprise. You guys are doing fine. You're doing great. I would say, because we're going to have space up here, I would say you do Antumbra Assault. You're not dying on turn 1. I still, in my heart of hearts, believe that Lifesteal will always beat Damage Shield. Allow me to pause. We have someone at the door. Alright, we're back. It's like a Babies R Us in here. All this baby stuff. What's your normal HP? What's the normal HP on this Steelworker? 15. I don't know. I think it's worth putting Lifesteal on somebody. I just don't know, who. I do know that's the play. So you're doing fine. We're really gonna give you 3 lives. I don't think that's worth. I actually don't think the Lifesteal's worth it at all. Now that I look at it, maybe you could put it on this guy. But then you do, yeah, you have a lot less energy to work with next turn, and I think having the Imp or the Rage next turn is going to be worth a lot more. So we're only doing 110, but that's going to change in a big way. Even just this takes it to 243, and now we want the Lifesteal on you, and if we could get you eaten a little bit more too. And you know what? You do take a lot less because of that. However, I think having you back on the next floor is what's going to matter the most. So we're definitely killing you. Now, believe it or not, I think you... Because of Lifesteal, we want you to get hit. I think it's actually best if you come in at the back. That actually did make you take more damage, but you have a lot more HP as well. I don't know if that makes any difference at all. Now that I think about it. So I don't know. I don't necessarily think we played this quote-unquote properly, but we did take no pyre damage or 3 pyre damage from our cards, so I think it's very solid. For now, I definitely think Ember is our biggest concern, but let's see. All summon effects. So, and I've been told this, the Transcend Imp will repeat this summon effect. Which means whatever floor I play it on will get +2 armor again. Or +2 capacity. And then also all of the armor effects from our endless armor imp. So I think that we do play it, because the extra capacity is pretty incredible value. I don't see a unit being that good for us, quite frankly. I think we're good on units. We do need more damage, but none of these are what we're looking for in that department. To be 100% honest. So I think we will suffer from damage. We have good, like, relentless capacity. We can stay in there. But we really need... Well, yeah, I'll be honest, we kind of needed, like, an Overgorger. Having not gotten it, I think we can now start to try to tighten this deck around a couple of different axes. Like, the Train Stewards do not fit anymore. Neither do the Torches, but we got a lot to pull. We're going to do it bit by bit, row by row, right? We can't give a spell holdover. We can give it +20 and consume. That's a good play on a torch to get it out of there. Making a spell cheaper is going to be very good on Ritual of Battle. Can't really do anything else with our gold. That's alright. We'll roll it over. We're looking for Trample, and we got it. But at the same time, you might think, hey, get +3 capacity. Because with +3 capacity, you're going to be able to get +6 capacity. But +6 capacity does not matter, because we won't be able to play enough units to make up for it. So I actually do think we pivot to Trample. And most of the time I stay in my lane. This time I think we're trying to, you know, we're trying to go through double lanes. You know, on 2 wheels, initial D style. We don't have the ability to kill enemies that get resurrected to full HP. So, like, we just can't do it. I think. You're doing 14 damage, so if I summon you down here, you'll die. Not great. Here's what I think. I think that's what you play. You could play a Crucible Collector at the top. You could, again, you could play it down here just to die. I don't think that's your move. personally. We were looking for a way to kill you. You come out with 20 HP. Quite frankly, I do think we play you just to give us energy for like a turn and then die. And you've got to be played. It's extremely important. I think we double torch you for a little bit of gold. We could have iced you too, which would have been nice, but I think we're okay. Lifesteal's not really relevant right now, at least via Immortal trade. It's a bit of a funky start. Let's just call it like we see it, right? You dying is essentially irrelevant. We know what we're playing. This is coming out here. It's just a matter of where we play it. We can't put anything in front of you, so that's fine. We know we're going to Hornbreak one of you two. It's probably going to be you. Hello. You're living now. I think the Rage is always going to work best on you. And we're going to let you make it through to the Pyre here, but it's okay. We got ways to heal our Pyre. Now we got some interesting situations at hand. Putting armor on a lifesteal unit is always a little bit dangerous. I don't really know what else to do with the Welder Helper. We could put it in front, but it's the same problem. If putting armor on a lifesteal unit is bad because they take armor damage instead of red damage, then having a unit come out and take the damage for them is the same problem. So I really think that without having extra capacity on this floor, at least not yet, the play looks a little bit like Welder Helper, Antumbra Assault, so we can get it back next turn and get more stacked summon effects. Both of these come out on the lifesteal unit, as you would expect. And then probably we just get another Shade Splitter going out here. And then I would really just ice one of these guys that's, you know, going to be a problem for us downstream. We're going to be on brief respite. And we're drawing Transcend Imp soon, which is pretty exciting. I think this is gonna come out. You guys are you're gonna do Pyre damage, okay? Like there's not much I can do to stop you there. Do we want the Imp gone? Or do we want more damage? You're doing 45, you're gonna be at 71. If I add 12, which is actually 12 damage times, well, I know it's 12 damage times 1. It's not gonna move things too much. I think we're better off icing you, you live, and then I do think with 3 lifesteal, we just give you more rage. And it's mostly a hedge against the future. We didn't take too much damage, I'm not sweating that. Okay, so there's important plays. I think we love the transcend, but the armor does, well, it doesn't counter lifesteal, but it makes the lifesteal charges kind of wasted. So I understand. We can't summon this in such a way that it gives capacity, though. You know what I mean? Like, because we can't fit it on this floor to begin with. So I think you just put it here. And it did give you quite a lot of armor and a little bit more capacity. I mean, to be honest with you, that just makes the rest of this floor very obvious. We're just giving you as many lifesteal triggers and gorges as possible. This one's a little spooky for me. You're only taking 45 damage. Very helpful. Very helpful. And then, I mean, in my world, the best option here is probably just to apply rage to the multi-strike unit. And again, lifesteal's not too relevant here, but it is what it is. We're still getting you done. I think all things considered, this went pretty well. This is with the trial off, so we slid backwards a little bit on Pyre health, despite not having a trial, which is always a little dangerous, but let's think. Let's think. Still feel like for all the, I mean, if you get Prism Retrieval early, I think it's pretty great. But I don't see it, honestly. I do see Cannibalize working well as a way for us to kill our morsel. And I actually think that Pyre Chomper is pretty good as well. I do worry that the deck's a little bloated at 32 cards, some of which are deliberate blights, but going this path. And I mean, because it's bloated, we gotta, like, you know, start pulling the stuff that we hate, which is largely these basic torches. But we don't really have great spell coverage for other stuff. 2 ornate chests. You know what? Lose a lot of pyre health, and we'll try to focus on playing our blight cards in the future. And then what do you got for me here? Holdover. This feels like the kind of card that could be like a pretty huge deal for us right now. But I don't know if we really have anything that does super well with holdover. Immortal Trade is kind of interesting in that department, but also very scary. 2 energy for 6 rage per turn. You really, most of the time you get it, you want to have it as something that keeps a unit alive, right? So I'm almost of the position that the best play for it might be to, like, hear me out here. I think there's 2 ways to do this. We want it to generate lifesteal every turn for our lifesteal unit. I think the best way to do that, rather than Immortal Trade, which compromises our energy base, is probably to put it on Antumbra Assault, which is not a card I value that highly most of the time anymore, and upgrade it. And then we can use it, hopefully, to at least target our own morsels. And, rest assured, this is a situation that I would call a little spooky. And these are all good energy upgrades as far as I'm concerned. But this is not something I do willy-nilly, and I go, oh yeah, Antumbra Assault, it's incredible. Let's not. I actually consider Antumbra Assault not that good and scales badly. However, in this situation, well, I think it's okay, let me put it that way. However, I think that in this situation, it might be just what we need to get going. We should ice one of these. The only question is it worth... Yeah, I think it probably is worth here. So we'll sack you to get 3 morsels. I just want to make sure we can still play our Crucible Warden up there. Yeah. Or the other one. And now if a collector spawns up here, we can get him. But it spawned there. We'll still be able to get him. It's just a little funky. So this is good. The only problem is you're dying. So, to fix that problem, let's make you not die. And, I mean, again, you kind of... We need to give you more HP to make you playable at all in the first place. Unfortunately. So the Crucible Warden, like, has no purpose right now. Not to be rude. This is where we wanted to find our Antumbra Assault, quite frankly. We need you to be able to steal life. You're still dying. How about now? Now you're living, and living well for that matter. Honestly, I do want to play the Ritual of Battle, but slowing down our upstream or downstream problems is also very valuable. Our Pyre is going to run into some stuff. There's no doubt about that. You're gonna make it to the Pyre. Even if I kill you, you're gonna get 10 armor. I think it's better to probably kill one of... Might as well kill you, because we know we're gonna get this card next time anyway. You're not a sweeping unit. Okay, see, I'm checking. Immortal Trade still essentially has no purpose. For us just yet, and neither does Pyre Chomper. So I think we're just chilling. Yeah, I think so. We did buff this guy to high heaven though. We might need Pyre health before the boss, just because we're not doing quite enough damage to be like particularly enthused. You gotta be harvested. It's the way of the world. We're relying a lot on our lifesteal unit. Now Transcend Imp, I'm like, at least, I was just gonna say, we give you extra capacity. It's not that useful, but it's something. You're living. You get extra energy next turn. Alright, so you're a lifesteal unit yourself. It's actually very good to at least burn a turn of your lifesteal using Welder Helper. And we are going to ice one of you. And I think we're going to be fine against this boss, really. I don't see this being a big problem. What do we got? 11 turns of lifesteal and 1 damage shield. It's pretty good. So we can't summon Welder Helper here. You're only taking 67, which is pretty bad. We have 5 energy, which means we can play everything. But the Ember Forge is not worth playing right now. So I think we really do like this. Followed by Antumbra Assault. Still on you, so we can get the armor next time. The Transcendent is literally doing nothing. But it's okay because we can put the Welder Helper back next turn. And we'll like to put the Welder Helper back next turn regardless. Certainly doesn't necessarily feel like an easy win right now. But does feel like it's getting the job done pretty well. Now this time because he's doing damage, we don't have another floor to summon on. Oh, you're a sweeping unit anyway, so let's not. Might have been giving him too much lifesteal. So our Crucible, or Warden, whatever the heck kind of Umbra it is, the lifesteal Umbra is doing a wonderful job. Thank you. Capacity, I think, is more of a concern than energy now. I kind of wish that I'd taken capacity instead of energy early. And I mean, I know we keep adding cards to the deck, which is either good or bad depending on how our deck's doing. It's a little spooky right now. But I think that is a very good card for us. I'm going to level with you. I want the Pyre health, but I think that we are better served. Let's just see what we get here first. Trap Shoot or the Hook. I honestly think Trap Shoot is better. Or, sorry, I think Pulley Claw is better. Because we don't want a unit to have to fight a lot. We'd rather just have the Pyre with its increased damage, like Isom. But the reason we're coming here is because I really think it's essential that we can actually play our Crucible Warden. Now, we're not doing anything on the bottom floor, so I think a large stone is acceptable. And I think that letting it actually live... but now that I think about it, if we could get you Gorgon, we don't need to worry as much about... your HP, but of all these options, I guess I would say that it's probably the best right now. And then Rage 7, I really don't think it's bad on any of these guys, but I think removal is like at an extreme premium. Ember Forge has really got to go. We just don't have the capacity to play it anywhere. And I guess, you know, if we're gonna have a little bit of gold left over, sure, there you go. So I would give us like a, let's call it like a 40% chance of surviving this fight right now. I'm okay with it. And if we die, we die. I think we've reasoned through this run, and it's been a little bumpier than usual, but not all of that comes down to us, you know? Well, we're trying, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So I think we start with, this is a classic. And then I'm looking at this, and you're 27 plus 12. You're not going to die because we have so much HP. But I think even beyond that, we'll actually do this to keep you cruising here. And we're going to definitely get you out of here. And we're going to apply the Rage right here as well, just to have him make sure that he stays at full HP for the time being. It's really going to compromise our energy. We're going to have 2 energy, which is bad. However, it's a start, you know? Now you're doing enough damage to actually kill our Steelworker. So we've clearly had to make a decision, and I don't know if I'd think this decision was the right one. This does keep our champion alive. This has the makings of a bad situation. Even if we put a unit in front of you, you're still gonna die due to the multi-strike setup. So oh, yep, we've incanted on you. But I think getting a damage shield going on this guy is more important. So I would say right now, our hopes and dreams hinge pretty much entirely on our Crucible Collector. He has to get out there. And beyond that, needs some lifesteal immediately. For the start of this one, we're just going to do it like that. We got 3 floors with 3 units, all of which are going to face a little bit of strife. You're dying. That's the #1 thing we got to watch out for right now. If our pyre will even live from this point onwards. So I would say here, no longer dying. Stop incanting on this floor, ideally. You need some lifesteal. Okay, where do you go from this? Quite frankly, if you're both dying, you need lifesteal. At which point, we would probably say... I think we might be dead already. But I still think the Crucible extension is what we need up there long term. We lived. Alright, none of you on the bottom floor, because you're gonna get crushed by the sweep. Alright, so you're doing okay now. We need something in front of you. Dunk, 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 dunk. I think you go Transcend Imp at the back. Actually, here's what you do. You go Pyre Chomper, Transcend Imp, and you get the extra armor on your champion. Then you Antumbra Assault either unit. Really does not matter. And then we get our Gorger up here going, because, again, down here he's going to get crushed by the sweep units. Then we get these going still. And for now, our champion eats those. And we've stabilized, but things are a little spooky still. You're doing great, sweet. We need you to go, though. That's the #1 thing we need right now is for you to be dead. And I think the best way to do that is probably to ascend you to the pyre room and apply Daze 3. So, personally... if we got 3 energy to spend, there's a lot of tempting stuff. I think this is very solid. I think this literally has to happen for us to stand a chance. And then 1 more morsel or Vengeful Shard. You definitely... well, I don't know. Vengeful Shard is 1 pyre damage if we let it through. We could get a damage shield for that. But I think it's probably most sensible to give yourself a little cushion just in case. I think either way is okay. But really, we don't care if our Crucible Collector dies. Is part of what, you know, it comes down to at the end of the day. He's not that valuable. So there's 5 pyre health back for us, and I'm happy to have it. Don't get me wrong. You have to get smoked. Even though it lets you live a little bit longer. Still important for us. I don't think this changes anything, but... okay, this should be interesting. So we can play Welder Helper on every floor. So I definitely think you do that. But I think you play it here. And then I honestly think you kill it in order to give more power to the lifesteal unit up at the top. And after that, I really think you throw caution to the wind. I think you rage this unit up, and we give you 6 lifesteal, which is actually not going to cost us anything, because you're going to die, and as a result, the Ember Drain is not... it doesn't matter. Okay, so now we got you up at the front, but we know what we want to do here. We're doing no damage right now. Pretty bad. This time, I have to look at it a little bit more carefully. It might be best for you to block for me, but you're only going to be able to block 1. Let's put you at the front for now, because we can always change that. So we want Shade Splitter real quick, and then we're going to cannibalize it. Although that'll make it impossible to play Antumbra Assault. No, or Morsel Miner. The cannibalize is important because we want to see if we get a lifesteal unit, and we did. Because we got a lifesteal unit, I think you play that on your champion. And then I think... Work with me here. Work with me here. Because I think I got something percolating. That's what I was thinking. You get to 141 on that. Okay, and then I think we try to get you to eat again. It doesn't change it. Alright, that's actually fine. We Antumbra Assault you, get you to Gorge twice. It's not a lot of damage, but we're in there. I think we mismanaged the morsels a bit. You're only taking 470, which is a terrible curse. I think that for sure means that we are toasted. How about now? Well, if that's not gonna work, let's roast you. 576, 666. You know what? No, that doesn't make any sense. All right, an attempt was made. I mean, I think we didn't make our unit strong enough, but I think that was a very solidly well-reasoned monster train run to begin with. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. If you did, click the like button. We'll be back tomorrow to try again. We'll see you then. See ya.